So I had an idea the other day. Did I tell you my idea? You know how every now and then you have one of those ideas where you think, gosh, that's such a good idea, I should have the rest of the day off. All right? I had one of those. Yeah, it did happen to be about like 1 o'clock in the morning, but still, all right, rest of the day off. Okay? So I was thinking, because you guys have done so awesome. Gosh, that sounded good England. So well. Right? You did so well, thank you, in your history of economic thought, your famous economist presentations. You did. We've got volunteers, and I haven't even told you what the idea is. That's pretty impressive, right? So you did so well in that, it got me thinking. Earlier in the evening, I'd been watching a couple of videos. I'd watched the theme song to The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Okay. And then I'd watched, because that, I thought, hello, Dylan, because that got me interested then. And then I thought, okay, I'll watch Will Smith and Jimmy Fallon doing the history of hip-hop dancing. And I thought, if you could put all three together. No. So then I thought, I'll write a rap that goes along the lines of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme, and then you could do like a rap on the history of economic thought. Oh yeah, just the look of fear on your face was priceless, right? And then you can have like the dancing in the background, and we've got the recording studio, and we've got the green screen. Oh, wouldn't that be fantastic? And I can promise you this. Well, at last check, no one has done it. Now, and one of the reasons why is because if you do, I sometimes look at these things because that's the way my brain works. But if you look at the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme song, okay, and you see when it's being pushed onto YouTube, it gets like about 20 million hits. Okay? Now, imagine that connected to us. Could you imagine 20 million hits for us? Wouldn't that be amazing? Marketing dream. Yeah? So just letting you know that that thought is there, and when I have a spare 5 minutes, I'm going to write the rap. And when I have done that, I will then unveil the idea to you again. Like the idea? And potentially then we can all join in together, right, and do this, because it would be fun. And, oh, actually, I'm just thinking now, just in my head, that there'd be a nice synchronicity to it, because the last video that we did, because we was going to do another one last year, and that fell apart because the year 12s couldn't get there. Oh, there's a New Zealand expression there. Couldn't move forward quickly, right? The last video that we did was with the previous year 12s, and why that would be quite a nice synchronicity is because there are two relatives of that group of year 12s in the room now, okay? So there would be a nice synchronicity to that, and also then it would be quite funny for them to show their older siblings, hey, look, we were in this video, this is us, and that was you, and that would be kind of cool, yeah, I think. And I would have a special part for Kendrick, because, dude, if anyone in the room looks like a rap gangster, it's you. Right? Wikipedia, right? That'd be amazing, wouldn't it? Can't you just see it? Can't you just see Andrew doing rapping? Can you not? And it's not even going to be Christmas time, and he's already doing the rapping. That one all right? Yeah? All right. Okay, so keep thinking, because that will happen. I'm sure of it. Why does it say unsaved? That doesn't sound good. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to continue on in our continuing on this. Oh, actually, before we do that, sorry, I'm going to change my mind. Oh! Right, I did promise you I would do something else first. So I'll do that, 842. Now, unfortunately, because of bandwidth and all sorts of other things, I tend to have problems with doing this, but we will try. Right, no, that's not you. Now, I posted, I think, if I remember correctly, because it's late in the week. I know it's Wednesday, but for me that's late in the week. And I am old, so sometimes I forget things. But I posted into the classroom a link to a site, I think. All right, so if I click on that, this one. Is it this one? Yes, this one. And then I have to do that for some reason. Now, so therefore, in my head, you all have access to this. Yes? Fantastic. Now, there is still debate and discussion about your pathway exam. Okay, there is still. It's ongoing. The reason why it's ongoing and the reason why there's been quite a delay in information getting to you is because we've still got a proportion of learners who are overseas. So the idea of facilitating a pathway exam is a little bit tricky at the moment. Whether we offer it both real and digital or whether we offer it 100% digital, right? These are options, okay? And how we do all of that, okay? Particularly because you've then got to judge the timings as well. Because if they're overseas, there's also time differences, as Giraffe will remember, right? So therefore, the school is trying to work that out as to how we do that, or whether we just do the pathway exams for you all, and then the distance learners, when they come back, do something. But I don't know any details about that as of yet. Okay? All right. So what I've done is I've created a site. I've put in case, because I think one asked, there's your syllabus is there too. I've also put in there an outline. So this will be useful because Joel was asking, this Joel, all right, was asking what possible topics could be in the pathway exam. And rather than say everything, I thought I'd actually write it down. So I've given you this, so you can take this, right? Hopefully, I think you can, and make it you. So then you can put in when the exam is and those sorts of things, which I don't know yet. Right? So possible content, the introduction topics. For example, economics, what economics is, positive and normative statements, PPFs, market economies versus planned economies, how economists think, so the scientific method, theories, hypothesis, laws, refutation, utility theory and demand, because we've still got a couple of weeks, so we might actually get to some of the demand material. Behavioral economics, nudge theory, choice architecture, which we're doing currently, biases and rationality, which is next on our list, demand, the law of the creation of shifts of movements along, determinants, etc. We might get to that, okay, because we've still got a couple of weeks. Okay. Supply, not entirely sure that we will, but if we do, great, fantastic. We can have that as a possible topic too. But we might not get to market equilibriums and efficiency. I had hoped to get to market equilibrium and efficiency, right? But we're not going to, okay? Because as you've followed, because there's this thing called the calendar, right? Your pathway exam is immediately when you come back after half term. Half term is in about 2 weeks' time. Yeah. So therefore, I've got 2 weeks worth of content that I will be delivering to you. That's essentially it. Okay. So therefore, that would be a normal approach. Would be to get up to the market equilibrium and the like. Yes. I'll get to that. Right. But very good question. Well done. All right. Now, here's what we got. Okay. Now, I have asked for and hope to get a time slot that is 1 hour and 15 minutes long. I don't know why they want 1 hour and 15 minutes for paper one. It seems an odd, awkward group of timings, but that's what they want. Okay. Now, when you sit this for real, you're going to answer one question out of 3. That's it. All right. I'm going to give you one question. I'm not going to give you a choice. You will have to answer this question. It's far too hard for me to get you extra questions into there for you to choose. And there's no point at this stage of you having to decide which question to answer. Right? I want to know what you know, and I want to know specifically that you're going to be able to handle the understanding at HL level. That's what I want to know now. Okay? So not whether you can choose the right exam question to answer. That will come later. So I put also their instructions. This is what's going to appear on the actual paper. All right, I've made doubly sure of that. All right. Now, the reason why I'm pointing this out to you is because some people get confused. So I want you to see the instructions and me talk them through. And I know this is pedantic and you've done lots of exams and you're all, yeah, but I don't want anybody to get confused. So we'll do it this way, okay? Don't open the paper till you're told to do so. That's the invigilator's job to do that, to tell you that. You're not permitted. You don't need a calculator. Okay, don't bring one. It's a written, right? Sam, you don't need it. You're going to answer one question. Now, I have specified here part A and B, because my worry is that you will read one question and only answer part A. Yeah, you can't. You have to answer part A and B in that 1 hour and 15 minutes. There's plenty of time. Trust me. Use fully labeled diagrams and references to examples where appropriate. The maximum number of marks for the paper is 25. That's what you're going to get. All right? Because that's what your actual exam is going to be. 25 marks for that paper. That's it. All right? Now, I've also written there, write on the paper. Now, this is where students also get confused. I don't want you to write on the question paper. All right? In the exam, those of you who've sat exams here, there will be a stack of paper. And as soon as your reading time finishes, you stick up your hand and you ask for the paper. And they come and they give you some paper. You might want 2, 3 sheets, however many you want. Okay? Then as you write, you can ask for more. That's the paper you write on. Don't try and write your answer onto the actual exam paper itself. I know some exams do that, I know, but I'm not. Okay? There will be a sheet of paper with your exam question on it that then you write on the other paper. Okay? Answer each part of the question A and B on a separate sheet. Now, I've done that, and this is just giving you a heads up because it's something called exam technique. Right? I want you to be able to learn from an early time to do this. Now, the current year 13s, they got a bit stressed with me when I kept telling them this, right? But we're using so much paper and it's bad for the environment. I don't care. Right? Answer part A on one sheet of paper, or 2 or 3 or 4, and then answer part B on a separate sheet. Don't finish part A and then start writing part B underneath. Don't do that. Okay? Reason why is you might leave some space there so that when you have time at the end of the exam, you can come back and add more into part A. Yeah, or part B. Right? But it becomes a lot more difficult, okay, if I then have to figure out where this extra part goes. Okay? And a particular relative of someone in the room here, who shall remain nameless, was very good at writing all around the paper and putting little asterisk notes. And I had to try and figure out where this part went and that part went. And yeah. All right. Then I had to read his handwriting. All right. That's all right. I've got my own handwriting to worry about. So, all right, use the marks allocated as a guide for how long to spend on each question. So how many marks are there in total?
25.
25. How long are you spending on the paper? 1 hour 15. How long is 1 hour 15 in minutes? How much? 75. So 70. Oh, no, I always get it around the wrong way. 75 into 25. 25 into 75. 3. So you get roughly 1 mark per 3 minutes. Yes? Did I do the math magic right?
Yes.
Okay. So you've got, therefore, for the 10-mark question, you've got at most 30 minutes to write it. So as I said to you before, you've got plenty of time. Now, the way I used to write exams, and forgive me, I'm a very old man, okay? I had a glass-faced watch, and I used to take the watch off, and I used to demarcate on my watch the timings for the exam. All right? Obviously, you can't do that anymore. Yeah. But you know that you're going to have 30 minutes at max for that question. So what you then do is you take 5 to 10 minutes off that time. So you're going to write in 20 minutes the 30-minute question. Right? Then the next one is 15 minutes. So how long is that? 15 times 3? 45 minutes. So you might write that in 40 minutes or 35 minutes. And that leaves you with an additional 20 minutes at the end of the exam for you to go back over, to check your answer, to add extra detail, add extra depth, whatever you need. Right? It's exam technique, right? And it's not necessary at this point, but useful to get into the habit. Yes. Usually, yes. I got to hope that they'll continue to do it that way, yes. Yeah, 5-minute reading time per paper. Yes. And it's reading time. It's strictly reading. You're not allowed to even hold your pen. You must just sit and read the paper at that point. Don't even attempt to do like highlighting or you'll get into trouble. So don't do that. Now, okay, so I've given you some examiner tips. Again, these are probably a little bit too much for you at this point, but I put them in there anyway. Time management, there you go, how long you spend. And I've also said to not get too overwhelmed with it, because this is your first set of IB exams, such as they are, and you're going to be doing them for all of your subjects in a short period of time. Right? So don't expect necessarily to come out of it looking like an absolute rock star, which you will anyway, for me. Yeah? But don't put huge amounts of pressure on yourself, right? Not sleeping the night before, yeah? Sitting in the corner quietly rocking away to yourself, yeah? Don't. It's not worth it, the stress, okay? That will come later, okay? That will be you in year 13, okay? All right? Where the year 13s currently are, okay? Just look at their eyes, okay? Right? Oh, calm as anything, helter-skelter, right? That's where they're at the moment, right? Now, so I've said all of that, there's a bit there. Now, there are some of you who might be interested in statistics, so I've included the statistics. These are the global ones, and it isn't from last year, it's from the year before, but it gives you an idea. I haven't updated the last year's, but they're more or less consistent each year, but they're trying to grade to a curve. Okay? So if you get a 7 in economics at high level, that's effectively 12.3% of all of the students across the world who sit the subject get a 7 at higher level. Okay? Now, if you do the maths on that, that's out of about 17 or so thousand, 16 and a half or so thousand candidates, 12% of those, that's a few people. Right? If you then make a comparison to some of these other subjects, you're going to see that you do much better doing it with us. Okay? Much better. All right. In fact, one of the hardest subjects, oh, shall I tell you this? Economics is about as hard as physics to get the top marks in. But believe it or not, art, so my lovely better half, okay, is way hard to get a 7. Right? Not saying it's impossible or any of those sorts of things, and people do it, and right? What it means is that if you do get that result, then you are in the elite of the elite, basically, around the world. Similarly here, if you go down and you have a look, so about nearly a third of the learners are going to get a 5 and up. That's more than a third will get a 5 and up. So that's a really good sign. Okay? So for those, because I get the year 13s bugging me now, what is my predicted grade going to be? What's my predicted? All right, I get that quite a bit at this time of year. Okay, usually with a look of absolute terror in their face. Okay, it's going to be all right. Yes, it's going to be all right. Now, again, statistics, but some people like these. I've also put the grade boundaries, again, not from last year because I didn't have an exam, previous year to that, okay? And again, they don't vary that much. They vary ever so slightly between the different time zones, but again, not that much. So you'll be able to look at this yourself, and we're in time zone 2. You'll be able to have a look at the full, which is this number, and then that will give you an idea about the percentages that there are and what percentage is going to get you the 7s, the 6s, the 5s, and so on. Okay, that's what you're going to be interested in. So when you're looking at your 25-mark exam paper, then you could, should you wish to, look at this and look at the percentages that you will need to get in order to get a 7, a 6, a 5, and so on. All right, so it gives you an idea as to what you're looking at. Okay, so that's that. I've also put the SL one, but I've made the comment I'm not even considering the SL because at the moment you're effectively all HL. All right, until we do the pathway. All right.
What grade do we need to get during the pathways to be an HL?
You need to get a grade that will be. That's a really tough question. Gosh, you're full of them today. Yeah, I'm not looking at a grade per se. I'm looking at a confidence level. So if you're able to get a 4, a 5, a 6, a 7, then I'm pretty happy that you will be able to manage HL. All right? If you're struggling to get a 4, yeah, then I'm going to start asking. Okay. That being said, if you're in a diploma, you've got to do 3 and 3. So even if I say, yeah, they really shouldn't be doing HL, if you're doing 3 and 3 and the other options are gone, then you kind of have to. And we just live with it and work with it. Right? There is a difference between HL and SL. There is. And there are percentage weightings in your exam papers that are different. Right? And your IAs are weighted differently too. Now, they weren't before, they are in the new syllabus. So therefore, there is like a mathematical difference. So if you're getting a 6 for HL, it's the equivalent of a 7 for SL. Right? That's kind of how hard you'd be thinking it is. Right? Does that make sense? Okay. Now I've also, so I've done that. So that's in that site, which now I've lost. Where's it gone? Here it is. Yeah.
Is there like more maths in IBEconomics-Rocks-How?
Again, gosh, you guys, it must be Wednesday that you're coming out with all these really good questions. In the past, under the old syllabus, HL was basically had all of the maths, more or less. Standard level only had to do percentage changes, essentially, and a couple of addition questions, that's it. The IBO have worked out that that's not the best way to do it, right? Because they do want you to have mathematical skill, whether you're HL or SL, with regards to economics. So now, the distinction isn't with maths, the distinction is with what's called the policy paper. So now it's your essay writing ability that's going to be the difference between the SL and the HL. That's what it's going to be, all right? If you can write a good policy essay, you should be doing HL. But everybody's going to do maths, all right? But don't panic, because I'm just looking over there, all right? It isn't going to be maths that should cause you to shake and shiver in your shoes. All right? It should be well achievable for you all because you're all doing standard level maths at least. Yep. Okay. All right. So you will all be fine. Right, with the maths. Right? It is the written stuff that will be my trip sum up. Now I've also put this in. This is just some general review materials based on the course so far. Some of it will go beyond where we are, and that's okay. Right? So there's Mr. Clifford. There's my ones. There's those are the videos. Yeah. Those ones. Then there's me. Then there's a couple more videos. There. Then there's some slides, worksheets, slides. There's the textbook, the old one. This one, in case you haven't seen it, I think I posted this the other week. That's your 9 themes, all right, which we will start to hammer in a few weeks' time. All right, once you get back from half term, once you get back from the pathway, we're going to start looking at these in a little bit more detail, just a tiny bit, because after the pathway exam, your next assessment, effective assessment, at any rate, is going to be an IA commentary. All right, and that will happen quite quickly after the pathway exam. I say quite quickly, it'll still take another maybe 3 weeks. All right, but then we'll get that. So that's there. Obviously, there's those as well. Some notes. There's the guide that you saw. This one, I just want to have a quick flick through to show you. Hopefully it'll turn up. Come on. Come on. Come on. It should turn up. And what's going to be there it is the what's called the evaluation framework. So those higher level skills that we talked about, yeah? So we talk about being able to define, to identify, those are the first level, okay? Then the next round, you've got your application questions, you've got your explanations, okay? Then the next round, again, the big boss battle in the video game is evaluating, all right? So in the evaluation, you need to do several things in a written context. And part of that is going to involve this, all right? So it's going to be talking about what's called a stakeholder, which isn't the person holding up the food at the restaurant. I wanted more fries with that. It's the producers, the consumers, the governments, that should be foreign. Producers, the different income level people, okay? It's anybody who has an interest in the decision, all right? Or anybody who is involved, like the economic actors that we talked about, any of those people. So you need to talk about the issue, the problem, the question, the situation, the case study, whatever it is that you're presented with in terms of these people and how whatever it is might affect each one of these. That's quite a challenge to do, right? This is you know the word cognition, right? Thinking power. I have cognition, yeah? Which is different from ignition. That's when you turn the car on, yeah? This is a level of cognition that's basically above high school level. So this is it's a critical thinking aspect that we don't normally ascribe to children as young as yourselves, right? Learners as young as yourself. Right? So this is more at the sort of the university level. All right, so validity, so there's where you're thinking about the scientific method that we discussed. Okay. Apologies for the really awful spelling. All right, so there's some examples there. Prioritizing the argument, that's going to become important when you do policy analysis for the high level, again, thinkers. So you're going to say, this is important, this, but it's more important than this, which is more important than that. All right, and again, that's a level of thinking and thought process that's considered to be higher than most. So there's some examples there. This one here will come to this, again, this is more about your policy analysis, right? In the short term, this will happen, but in the long term, this will happen. And there's some examples there. And then here, right, we've talked about, we've broken it up a bit better. Okay, so we've talked about definitions, explanations, examples, and diagrams. And then, in case you were wondering, so the deed, okay, yeah, let's move on from there. In case you were wondering, I mentioned the CLASP model for some of you in your evaluations about the market model, about the different market structures, the government command versus free market. And this is the CLASP system here. So conclusions, what conclusion can you come up with? Again, looking at short and long-term effects, assumptions that get made, impacts on stakeholders, the prioritizing the arguments, pros and cons, advantages and disadvantages, right? That's from that particular website, which is a good one. All right, so if you haven't gone on to IBEmastery.com, feel free. .my. Yeah, so that's what the class system is. So all of those words then make up the word class. Yeah? So that's what we tick off when we look through your writing. Now, it's not going to work for every discussion, every evaluation that you do. Short and long term in particular is more policy based. Yep. But it will for a number. Right, so that's that one. Right, so that's the review materials. Okay. Now, when it comes time to you doing a mid-course exam, then there will be practice papers and stuff up there too. Right. The best thing that you have is the specific learning objectives on the site. All right, that's your best tool to help you prepare. Outside of that, obviously, the syllabus, right, and the student learner guide. Right, they're very helpful things because they will put the specific learning objectives very plainly there for you, and you can pull those out. Tick box, yes, I can do all of this. Yep. Okay, are there any, while I'm doing this, any particular questions? Anything you're not certain about? Yeah.
Could you give like a quick example answer?
Well, you're going to write one?
No, like, is there a perfect answer for a question?
No.
So could you give us like almost perfect answer?
I can give you. I could give you an almost perfect answer when you've sat it. Yeah. Yeah. The problem, as you've probably worked out, is I'm asking you one question with a part A and a part B. Yeah. So whilst I can create other questions with a part A and a part B, the more of those I do, the more obvious it's going to be to you as to what I'm actually going to ask you. You understand that? I can't give you the actual question that you're going to be doing in the exam. That would be morally wrong of me. The best I can suggest for you to do is to look at those specific learning objectives on the site and also in the syllabus and use those as your focus points for your revision. That's the best thing to do. Okay?
So that means we're not going to have like a pathway practice.
No, I cannot. I could create one, but by creating one, I'm basically discounting a whole section of your work because therefore that cannot be in your exam. Yes, because you've learned like this much.
Because those questions are very similar.
Sorry?
Those type of questions are very similar.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what it refers to the content by content.
Yes, absolutely. And that's all I'm after. Yeah, I just want that you can understand it. Right? If you are struggling with the language and the terminology and actually physically writing on the page at this sort of point, then yeah, we need to have a conversation. Yeah, but there's no real big maths issue because everybody's doing maths. The difference is, can you physically write? All right, and if that becomes a problem, then we need to, say maybe SL is better for you. Yeah. But again, it will depend very much on what you have for your other subjects, because it's the 3 and 3. Okay, so if you've picked your 3 HLs already, and that's all done and dusted, then yeah, you're going to be doing SL. There's no, right? If you're struggling to get HLs, as some do, then you might have to do HL economics, regardless of how you feel. Right? And that happens sometimes too. I was here. Yeah.
Can I use, you know that there's like a economics book that my sister used? It's
Yeah.
like a very, can I still use it or is it not really it?
You can use any book you like. Yeah.
But there are no topics that they got rid of
Yes.
in the newspaper?
Yes, there are. The new syllabus is, as you've probably worked out, the main difference between the new syllabus and this one, other than the assessment, which is completely different, right, is that they've actually added more. Right? They have taken some of development out. They've taken a little bit of international trade out, and then they've merged those two into one. So it's now the global economy. Okay? Which is a bit sad in a way, to be honest. Anyway, it's not my call. They have taken some of the theory of the firm out, but again, if you're looking at an old textbook, it's not really going to make that much difference to you. You understand? I know that's hard for you to. The biggest thing will be the gaps, will be the new bits that have been added that aren't in there. That's the biggest thing. But the old economics is more or less there. So it will be in a different order, perhaps. But yeah, any book. See,
Yeah,
that one, which is still here, and I have copies of, right? You're more than welcome to look through and see if you want to. Yeah, don't know that it's particularly useful at this point, because pretty much everything we're doing at the moment, well, a lot of what we're doing at the moment isn't really in here. Okay, but you're welcome to look at it. The other thing you can look at is this, which I picked up the other day. I've got a digital copy of this, so I've just bought myself a real one to go in the library. Right, that's Daniel Kahneman, right? Thinking Fast, Thinking Slow, which is the behavioral economics, one of the behavioral economics gurus. Okay, and yeah, it's all there in an advert. So you can have a flick through that if you want. I just did that for you. Yes. Yes. Yeah, I put that in because I want. I'll stand over here for a second. The circular flow as you understand it at the moment, I'm going to want you to be critical of it, right? And I keep forgetting that, okay? But I am. I'm going to want you to be critical of it. I thought that there was another slide, which I may have added that hasn't gone in there, okay, but that's okay. Because the next step is to say, okay, how does this fit into the real world? Right, so our circular flow model, lovely, pretty, beautiful, wonderful, yeah. How does it actually fit into the real world? And there are now economists who have said the circular flow model doesn't fit into the real world. Right? And even if it does, it perhaps shouldn't. We should be thinking about what's called a circular economy, right, where we are doing the renewable resources, the environmental impact, right, all of that included within the circular flow. So that's the circular economy approach. And then the other idea is something called donut economics, which I think there's a link to in that article as well, possibly. If not, I'll push one to you. And that's, again, that's a discussion about equity and how we need to, instead of all the wealth being concentrated in particular areas, it needs to be shared like a donut around the whole economy. There's a book called Donut Economics. It's not, strictly speaking, in your syllabus, but it is a useful thought process to discuss when you're being critical, when you're evaluating models. Yeah. Now, if we jump onto there, we have good, fantastic. Everybody into the nearpod.com. Nearpod.com and that code. Yeah, so anybody else want to have a look at Thinking Fast, Thinking Slow? Point over it. Yeah.
Where can we get the hard copy of new economics textbook?
Amazon.
Does Amazon deliver?
They did to me. But I did, yeah, I think it was Amazon Singapore, I think, delivered to me. But I have submitted, yeah, don't tell anyone. I have submitted your textbook to the photocopying department, the new one, and they are currently scanning it, digitizing it, but they're scanning it at a rate of 50 pages a day. Okay, and the textbook has 750 pages. So you can work out that it's going to take another week possibly before they finish. They're also going to copy it, I'm hoping, I think, I told them to do this. But at the very least, that will give you a digital copy of the textbook that we can have online and you can just go through. Don't ask.
Don't question it. If you don't question
Don't
it,
ask.
you don't know. We don't know.
I'm also currently photocopying and binding a whole lot of other things, some of which is IGCSE level, so that's not related to you, but others of it will be related to you, but it might be A-level based, but because the IB syllabus is now actually closer to the A-level syllabus, there's little distinction now. So, all right. Okay, I've still got 14, so I'm missing a couple, but then I do have one who hasn't arrived so far. Have we joined? Have we joined? All in? Yeah. Okay. Now the code is up there. So if you're still struggling to join, that's the code. Dane wanted to have a look. All right. Can't remember how many years ago I read it. It's actually, it's good. So it's quite academic, but it is good. Yep. Right. Did we do this? Is this the wrong one?
We started with nudge.
Nudge theory. Good nudge theory. Sorry. I've jumped you into the wrong one. Apologies. Need to go to this one. apologies, it's this code that you need. UIVRG, that's the lesson code. So if you could go out and back in and jump into this lesson. Much apologies, I got a bit ahead of myself. Please do have a look through the site for the pathway. Yeah. And if it then raises questions for you, either send me an email or something. Right?
Could you please also add all of the presentations to the other website? The
There's the website is Unit 1, so you should have access to that one.
The presentation that we want.
Yes,
Because the previous presentation.
they should be on there. If there are some that are missing, I apologize, I'll put them on. But they're either on the Unit 1 website or the Pathway website. They should be there. If they're not, let me know and I'll put them on. Okay, so I've got 14, which is not quite everybody, but it's okay. We will press on. Right, so we did this the other day. And bit of a review. What is nudge? Go. What is a nudge? In the future, when things are a bit more relaxed than they are now, if anybody has a passion for Lego, our house has a lot of it. Our son has got a lot of it. And when he dismantles it, it just kind of goes into boxes. And it's really unorganized. So, you know, there could be a good job there for somebody to sit there. It would take a long time. I say a long time. It would take several hours, right? But to do the organizing of the Lego, or, I don't know, building stuff with him, right? If you were that way inclined, you would enjoy that as well. But definitely we have considered employing someone to come in and sort out the Lego, because, you know, I can spend hours just sorting out just his people, let alone all of the other things that he has. Right? He's got about 4 big boxes, big tubs of Lego, plus he's got whole shelves of little people, plus he's got whole shelves of little parts of Lego. Yeah, and we're building a spaceship. The Batman space shuttle is the current one that we're building, which is taking a while. Right, so that's what you should have had. A nudge is a technique used by choice architects in order to change someone's behavior in a very easy and low-cost way, reducing the number of choices available without reducing the number of choices available. Choice architects and policy makers aim to change people's behavior and alter their decisions rather than using law. We want you to decide to do the right thing rather than us have to tell you to do the right thing and, you know, penalize you if you don't. Don't want any of that. So, next one. There you go. Fill in the gaps. Well done. Excellent. So you can right away see just how interesting this is as a science to try and figure out all the nudges that are possible, all of the different choice architectural decisions that you could make and come up with. There could be lots. Any of the social behaviors that you think, no, that's not right, we shouldn't be doing this, we should be doing that, maybe they can be solved just with nudges. Yeah, maybe. Choice architects and policymakers aim to change people's behavior and alter their decisions more effectively using a nudge rather than relying on pieces of legislation or direct enforcement. Here's an example, real life, both in the UK and under a former administration in the United States. They actually used nudge theory. There is a behavioral, basically a behavioral response team in the UK, or there was, okay, they have gone again under the new leadership. Okay. And it is their job to try and figure out how to use nudge theory to improve social outcomes. That's an interesting job. All right, these are people who do this all day, every day. All right, these are the people who are economists, but dealing with this instead of other macro ideas or micro ideas that they might have otherwise been dealing with. So the implications for this is that the government can employ behavioral economics to help society in whatever way they're thinking. What about producers? Can they use nudge theory too? Businesses? Yeah, okay. And of course, you, the consumer, you're the one being affected by a lot of this. But you yourself can employ some elements of nudge theory too for your peers, the people who are participating, right, in your consumption decisions, or you can influence their consumption decisions. Well, just as you would if you were to, you know, tell a friend, oh, there was an awesome movie and come and watch it with me, and, you know, you're influencing them. Right. There's one there about eating your veggies. All right. All they put was green arrows on the floor. That's it. Little wee green stickers on the floor of the supermarket that pointed towards the groceries, the green groceries. And as a result of that, they saw an increase in the number of sales of vegetables. Woohoo! Producers using nudge theory in order to get more sales, but it's sales of particular products. Right. Now, honestly, this field is huge, okay? You can do all sorts of things with it. So what social problems do you think we could use nudge theory to solve? Maybe there's social problems that you know of. I don't know. Maybe there's some things you've thought of or discussed with your family or your friends. What social problems do you think we could use nudge theory to solve? Ben Shapiro is my lord. Who is Ben Shapiro? Somebody. Somebody who's apparently quite partial to Ben Shapiro. Anybody know who Ben Shapiro is?
American commentator.
See? Okay. Sounds like a form of pen. Would you like the Parker pen? No, I'd like the Shapiro pen. Right, answers coming through. What social problems do you think that could be solved using a nudge? What do you think? Some answers coming. Queuing, okay. Idea? There we go. Yeah, that's good. Tim. Very specific about which public spaces we were talking about. That's right, good. Yeah, and others. And others. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. That'd be weird if it was a dog statue. Wouldn't it? Funny, but weird. Yeah. Good done, eh? Okay. Okay, another couple of minutes. Remember, nudges, they're not supposed to be expensive. They're not supposed to be difficult. They're just supposed to subtly encourage you to behave in a particular way. Right? They're not supposed to reduce the choices that you personally have. They can do. Yeah. Depends, you know, depends how they do them. Yeah. Right, we're going to have a look at some. Right. How about this one? You would have seen this. The decoy effect. This is about choice architecture, how you design the choices people have in order to, again, achieve a certain goal. So in this case, when you're eating out and you see the different prices in the menu, you're probably very familiar with this. And some of the things on the menu, some of the, I mean, obviously if you're going to McDonald's, Joel, then you know, it's not going to be quite like this, but some restaurants, just picking on you there, some restaurants, you'll have a menu where there will be several items that will be really expensive, much more expensive than other things. And you think, why on earth are they putting that there? It's not that they're necessarily expecting you to buy it, it's that then by comparison, the next best item looks cheaper. So you're more likely to buy that one, even though that one is still possibly more expensive than the budget items or other items on the menu. All right, so as a producer, then you're using nudge theory. It's not about a social problem that you're trying to solve. You're nudging them to purchase a particular product in order to give you, the business, more revenue. More sales, more revenue.
Oh, what is the social problem?
It's not a social problem. Yeah. Nudge theory can be used by businesses, like the vegetables.
Basically, just like ads.
Yes. Yeah. But the ads have to be particularly designed. Yes. Yes, absolutely. That's called the decoy effect. There is lots of them, and you don't necessarily need to know all of them. All right. Other than using nudges to solve social problems, how might you use a nudge to encourage someone to buy your product in order for your business, like you saw, to earn more revenue? What nudges might you see? I've given you 2 examples already. There we go. Have a think. What nudge could you do? Very short, very simple nudge. Yeah. And again, you probably see them all the time. They're nudging you. What's coming up? Yeah. Yes, decoy effect. Well done. Yes. How about this? You've seen this on a sticker? Where it says limited offer. All right. Have you seen those? Or on a website. Anybody booked a hotel through a website? 5 other people are booking the same hotel as you. What? Yeah.
Or like in Amazon, they do like people are viewing this video.
Yes, people are viewing this right now. Yes. Yeah. One thing left. Say nudge. They're all nudges to encourage you to behave in a certain way. They're wanting you to buy their product. Not delay, buy it. No. They don't want you to think about buying it. They want you to buy it. Yeah. Why we put the confectionery at the front of the store, right by the checkouts? Sweets, candy, whatever the terminology you use. It's why we put it at a height that is low enough for children to get. Because if you've ever gone to a supermarket with a child, once they have it in their hand, it's very difficult to get it out without an enormous tantrum. All right.
It's just 1/2.
What about color schemes? Yeah. Very simple, just change the color scheme. Change the font. Use words that you know will encourage them. Use words that imply that time is limited. Look at that. Good. Yeah, got to be specific with the adverb and the promotion, but yes, good. Here's some nudges. Probably seen this one. This is a social problem. Too many people were using the escalator. And they were wanting people to use the stairs because it's healthier. So they made the stairs into a piano. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yep. There's a restaurant that allows you to pay for your food in America by doing exercise. Yes. This one, I think this is brilliant. Obviously, I'm biased.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Great idea. Yeah. You want to, hey, I tell you, in New Zealand, at the school we were at, this would have been so effective. All right? Because one of the biggest social problems, well, of the many that we had, was littering. And of course, unlike here, you go over to a student or learner and you say, can you just pick that up, put that in the bin? And in New Zealand, no, it's not mine. What, you're going to make me? That, oh, yeah, come on, bro, come on, where's more rubbish, come on. But this, you like almost nobody went up the escalator and pretty much everybody went up the stairs. Very simple. Very simple. Done that. All right, that'll come back to you in a minute. Don't worry. Your digital lives. All right, this now is a bit different from when this was first thought about, the idea of behavioral economics. Now you're all online, you're all virtual. How do you nudge someone virtually? What do? Adverts that pop up at inconvenient moments. Yes. Recommended for you. Again, limited time.
One time I saw like article where like people is listening to you or something. So I think I think of the amount of money to buy the Louis Vuitton.
Yeah.
And then like the next in like 2 hours I was scrolling through Instagram like all Louis Vuitton ads just
Did you search it out? Oh, I was just talking about it.
Yes.
But all the ex-people from my they use the like psychology.
Oh, absolutely they do.
And it's like all
Yeah.
this very good thing is like because the computer is literally taking all of your data and it's making everything real for you to get efforts.
Absolutely. And if you've ever used Facebook for a search for a product, for a good, and they do that here quite a lot, you'll notice all of a sudden that the products will be the same, but the company names will be different. Yeah, it's just a random, almost a randomizer. Yeah, there are all sorts of digital nudges that you could do. Now, I'm not going to judge. Not. Has anybody ever played a video game? No judgment. You? Yeah. Okay. All right. When you play a video game, how do they encourage you to keep playing the game? Levels. How else? Missions. Yes. How else?
cosmetics that you pay for.
Yes. Having extra things that you need to pay for. How else? How?
You lose.
Oh, my word. Tell you, when my son loses, that's it. You don't play it again.
Oh, they rig the game.
They rig the game.
Happens in FIFA.
Yeah. What about this? Anybody want a badge in a game? A merit reward? Coins? Yeah. There's a couple of games that my son plays. One of them's called Idle Miner, which does sound like a child. But anyway, and it's a guy and he's mining, right? And then he mines more, and it actually makes like little virtual coins, and they appear and they make noises, right? So it can be something as simple as the noises it makes, right? To encourage you to keep playing. If you've played the Xboxes and the PlayStations, yeah, without getting too into the details of this and why, if you're holding the controller, yes, they have what's called haptic controllers. They vibrate, they, right? You're shooting someone, and it gives you that physical immersion into it. And you want to keep going. All right, my son will tell me how many levels he's beaten, how much money he's earned. All right, in one of the Lego games, he's earned like hundreds of millions of dollars. I wish it was real money. Yeah? He just keeps winning things. Yeah. Because what you do, and we only worked this out because we watched a couple of YouTube videos, is in the Lego games, right, if you complete certain missions, they give you a bonus award, and that bonus award multiplies the amount of money you can earn for everything else. And then each time that you do another one of the missions to get this, and it multiplies it again. So it's a cumulative thing. So it's 2, 4, 6, 8. And by the time you get there, his every coin has been multiplied by 3,000. Right? So he's earning millions in this game. Look at the numbers, look at them go up. Yeah? And you crash into things and they explode. And all of the coins go and it, yeah? It's an entire experience. Badges, noises, winning, right? Go into a casino. Woo. Right, you will have noticed that casinos smell. They put particular smells in the casino to hide the other smells, but they put particular smells in the casino to make you stay there. Yeah? They play particular music to help you stay there. Why they play particular music in lifts, to keep you calm, but also to encourage you to get out once the doors open. They don't want you sitting in there doing a rock concert. We are all online. So this, badges, awards, right, certificates of achievement, whatever it is, that's going to be more and more and more. I'm developing here some software that will enable me to give you digital badges. Yeah? Yeah. My watch gives me digital badges when I stand for a certain length of time, when I walk for a certain, and it spins around. And it's got my name written on the back of it. Cool. Very cool. All right? It's all to motivate you, to encourage you. And these days, because we're all digital, there's got to be more digital. And you've got to have more digital choices and ways to do this, as opposed to just the normal approach. So how could we be digitally nudged? Very quick. Like about 5 seconds. All right, putting some answers up, some thoughts. How we could be digitally nudged. Yep, reward systems are a classic one. And if you have played video games, all right, and if you're thinking, oh, just look at the number of people with cell phones playing video games on public transport. Yeah, it's amazing. You see them walking around here, holding their phones, playing games. Yeah? No. Not Joel. Okay. Right? One of my year 10s sits there and she can barely cope with sitting still in the lesson and doing the lesson. Her phone's just sitting there, and every now and then you'll see her turn it over and she'll play the game, putting it down. I keep harassing her, keep saying, hey, because you're getting good at that. Well, you can get a university degree in video game playing now. Yes, you can. Yes. 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 Absolutely. Yeah. There are professional, it's considered a professional sport now. They make millions of dollars in certain games. World of Warcraft makes a lot of money, and then the Fortnite thing wins a lot of money too. I don't know quite why.
We get cash up every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
And as we've said before, the #1 career choice in the United States is social media influencer. So it's probably not a surprise to you that you can go and do online courses about how to be a social media influencer. Yeah, it's not that big a leap to go, let's have a university degree in being a social media influencer. It's really not. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to finish there for today. You need to do the cleaning of the desk. You need to do the cleaning of the hands. And once you've done all of that, hey, Cornetta, have a great day. Bye. Thank you. Remember that your nudges need to be nice.